Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
Hey, it's the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston, and I'm here with a kind-hearted woman named Jody, who's agreed to share her story with you so you can benefit from her experience and strength and hope and wisdom, as well as her trials and tribulations and stumbles and falls. Right, Jody?
That's what I'm here for.
Tell me a little bit about your story and then what happened.
Okay. Food's always been an issue for me. It became a severe issue. My mom died when I was a teenager, and I decided to go on a diet. So I went on a really calorie restrictive diet and was successful, but of course couldn't maintain that kind of calorie restriction. And then that triggered the binge eating. I was a typical binge eater, large amounts of food. And then somewhere along the line, and I tried to remember when it morphed, but I think it's very clear to me now that the pig got clever and I stopped binge eating and started to be a grazer because that didn't seem so bad. But my weight continued to climb. So clearly it was, but it seemed normal. I wasn't eating large amounts of food. I wasn't embarrassed in front of anybody by binges, but clearly it was still an issue.
Interesting. Your pig figured out a way to hide. That's really interesting.
Yeah, that was probably when I was in my mid-20s when it morphed. And then up until my mid-30s, I was able to lose 100 pounds with the assistance of Fen-Phen. Went off Fen-Phen. I've never gone back to my highest weight, even now, but still bounced around, still yo-yoed then and tried everything. I'm sure many people can relate. You name it, I tried it, and just constantly was undone by the draw, the compulsion to eat at different times, even when I wasn't hungry.
Did you have any side effects on the Fen-Phen? Why did you go off?
Because they made it illegal. I am one of the lucky survivors of Fen-Phen. I did not have any heart valve damage. I went through all of the testing afterward, and I'm blessed. I know others were not as blessed as me and died at the worst and had lifelong heart issues as a result of using it.
Yeah,
so
really lucky.
Yeah, I really was. I'm relatively healthy. I don't have a lot of health issues despite my yo-yo dieting and higher weight. I had downloaded your book and not read it. I had come to the point where it's like, that's it. I am never dieting again. And this is just the way it's going to be. And I was going through my library on my tablet and came across the book. That was probably just after Christmas, and read it and went, oh my gosh, there's truth here. And I joined the intensive, I think in February.
Gotcha. And then what happened? What was it that worked?
I haven't binged since I started this.
How come?
Because the magic, for me, the magic is finding out that that was never me telling myself to do that to begin with.
Mm-hmm. The book immediately separated you from the pig. You could clearly see your destructive versus constructive food thoughts, and you recognize what you wanted versus what the pig wanted.
I immediately recognized that that was true. I immediately recognized the lizard brain, the pig, the enemy, whatever it is that you want to call it. And also had known, because I had done the whole loving the inner child, and I'm not denigrating any kind of inner child work. That's not what I'm saying, but loving my way thin. I had twisted myself into pretzels trying to do that, and therapy and therapy and therapy, and was not getting there. And as soon as I read your book, I realized it was very evident to me that, yeah, this is tough love stuff, girl. This is not, oh, they're there. You can have a cookie this time. because that's the best way to love yourself. It was like, no, babe, it's time to grow up.
Got it. It was a wake-up call.
It really was.
Once you had that insight, where did you first apply it? Were there specific things your pig was saying that you were immediately aware of? Was just being aware of it enough? What worked?
Well, as a grazer, I had to have a defined time when I wasn't supposed to be eating. So my first thing was, I need a 3 meals, 1 snack rule. That was my first rule, and it has been profound for me.
You took away its cover. The pig can't hide anymore.
Yeah, your comment about the pig will drive 100 miles an hour to run a yellow light was like eureka for me, because that's the way it was. Oh man, when it was graze time in my head, oh, we should have a snack. Well, I'm not that hungry, but I am hungry. That's right, I really am. The mental game that the pig plays with rationalization to get you to have that next snack that you don't really want truly, and certainly don't need.
And so by clearly defining the rule and taking away the pig's cover, you recognize when the pig was active. And did you have to work hard to refute those rationalizations? Did it come naturally? What happened?
My coach is Yvonne, and she's wonderful. And I just did refutations. I would do proactive ones every single morning, as many as I could think of, just because I knew that sooner or later that one was going to come up. Just having that defined time, it was like, ding, hey, we should have a snack. Nope, we don't have a snack right now. It's not snack time. Oh, okay.
So it didn't matter if the pig said you're hungry. It didn't matter if the pig says you need the food. It was not mealtime, and that was that. You could just use that as a refutation, and that was enough.
There have been times when I have been hungry, not a lot. My coach reminded me to be real careful with that and make sure I ate enough at every meal so that hunger wouldn't be such a huge issue in between. And I have tried to follow that advice, and it's been really helpful.
That's probably the best advice you can get. Someone with your history, when you do that, might be frightened that they were feeling binge-like again because they're eating more at one time. Did you experience that at all? And how did you deal with that if you did?
The thing that has been so profound to me, it felt like tuning in a radio station. Once I got the static out of the way, which were the squeals, other things began to happen organically that weren't a part of my rules or my conditions or my guidelines or anything. Things that I tried to do for years, like sitting at the table to eat a meal. I always ate in front of the TV. And now organically, it's like, I think I'll sit at the table and turn the TV off. And now I just do that, which is just mind-blowing to me. Without that static, I'm able to be logical about what and where I eat. So one of the things that also has been organic is I have a lot more healthy things on my plate than I ever would have before. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's throw some veggies on there. Oh, let's have that orange. It doesn't feel binge-like because it's not junk. It's decent food.
You're eating a normal amount of decent food.
Yeah.
A normal amount of decent food. Who knew? Who knew that would work?
Go figure.
How long did it take you to feel like that was organic? Everybody knows that by organic, we mean natural and second nature as opposed to forced. And we're not talking about FDA approved organic labeling of food.
Right. Well, I guess it was like 2 weeks ago. My husband and I were on the way to somewhere. And he said, I'm going to stop and get a latte. Do you want one? And I could have a snack. And I heard myself say, no, I think I'm going to go ahead and save those calories for lunch. And I did. I stopped and said, who the heck just said that?
That's funny.
That's when I realized that all of these changes that have just happened are because without the static, I'm able to be logical about the choice, more logical. I'm not talking about perfection here, but I'm able to be more logical about the choices I make.
Beautiful. Were there any specific refutations that were very valuable to you? Or was it more so the separation than any particular refutation?
As far as the food goes, the separation and the rules were great. But the way the pig gets to me is with the body image, the shame, the hopelessness, that kind of thing. So those types of refutations have been really powerful for me. Just challenging the negative thoughts. That was when this was at its worst. That was truly the worst part of this for me. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I felt in my body, but the way I felt in my head was 10 times worse.
You can take a minute and find that if you want to. That's a very powerful thing to talk about.
one of the things that I deal with, and even when I was dieting successfully on using fen-phen, the weekends were always reserved for even mini binges. This is the first time in my life I've ever followed a food plan. I don't even like to call it a food plan because it's just my life now. But it's the first time in my life where I haven't thought, all right, it's the weekend, so let's get crazy. This is about weekend overeating, which was, I know not exactly my train of thought, but these were a big deal for me.
Perfect. No. Anything that was a really good refutation, that would be really helpful.
Yeah. You've worked really hard. You deserve a break. I have worked hard, Pig, and I do deserve a break from you and your lies. My breaks from my...
Oh, that's great. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
That's okay. My breaks from my food plan have never ultimately felt like breaks. They felt like failures. I like my food rules. They work for me during the week and on the weekend, so I don't need a break from the rules. I do need a break from you and your lies. I feel satisfied with my rules and thrilled with the progress I've made, and taking a break on the weekend is not worth the cost of what I would lose.
I love that. Do you have more, Jody?
Let's see. Okay, it's the weekend. Have a little bit of fun. It is the weekend, and I plan to have a little fun. And the treat I have planned that is completely within the boundaries of my rules. In addition, something that makes the weekend even more fun on Monday is waking up and knowing that I complied with my rules and did not binge. Most importantly, the more weekends I follow my rules, the more fun I have with real life things because I feel stronger and less self-conscious about how I look and move. Now that's fun.
I love it. I love it. What else?
It's not fair. You have to watch what you eat so closely. Just be a regular eater for the weekend. I have lived under this belief most of my life, but I now see it's a lie from the start. This is just a spoiled brat whine. Fair? You know what isn't fair? Being in a body I'm ashamed of, a body that doesn't move as well as I want it to, a body that has pain because I haven't taken good care of it. And worst of all, to know that I caused this unfairness to myself. Grow up and stop whining, Pig.
I love it. And you know what's quote unquote regular or quote unquote normal in our society is horrific. The average person in our society just consumes so much junk and dies sooner than they need to and suffers with all these diet preventable diseases. You can't strive to be normal or average if you want to be healthy.
Right.
Is there anything else?
No, I think that's it from the reputations that I found.
Those are great. Is there anything else about the program that you wanted to highlight or share?
I did my first weekend eating just-in-time sequence last weekend. So I'm on my second weekend this weekend. If you could love yourself thin, this is the way to do it. But it's not an abstract loving. It's a truly caring for yourself. My subject line on my Monday morning sequence is Monday morning forensics. I was a paralegal for 24 years. So everything's in terms of legal stuff in my brain. Yeah. But it's like, how did things go with food this weekend? Note to myself, if they went well, take a moment to praise God. If they didn't go well, take a moment to praise God. Is there anything that needs to be reviewed, improved upon, high-fived about? But the part that I like so much when I read it last week was, no matter how things went this weekend, you took the time and the energy to be intentional about your health and your eating, and in doing so, took great care of yourself. Well done, you.
That's terrific. So really focus on the evidence of success and moving forward. It's beautiful. Is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
One question I asked my coach, and I mentioned it a little bit in one of my refutations. At the end of the intensive, I said, okay, I probably should ask this at the start, but if you had one piece of advice, one nugget, what would it be? And she said, make sure you love your rules. And that has been profound for me with where I'm at.
Did it cause you to revise your rules in any way?
I tweaked them a tiny bit. I had already created rules because I had sworn I was never dieting again, and I don't. I had created rules that already fit, but I did go back and review them, and I've changed them since then. I've noticed some things here and there that come up. I do have one treat that I have a week. And with the flexibility of having that, I can have a treat on the weekend and it's not a binge, and I don't have to change anything to accommodate my life.
You don't have to apologize for it either.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So cool. Is there any way that I can help you?
Just make sure that this continues to be available for people. You have truth that nobody else is saying.
I'm not retiring, I promise you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jody. Really appreciate your support. I'll see you in the groups, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Thanks, Jody. Be well. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. That's defeatyourcravingscoaching.com. Thanks.